Plugged in together, here's what's new. From a co-op straight to you. Helpful info to keep you in the loop.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to In the Loop, and welcome to Season 6 of In the Loop. I'm your host, Taylor, and today's episode is one we're really excited about, because if you're a student thinking about college or a parent helping someone through that process, this conversation is for you. College admissions can feel overwhelming. There are applications, essays, deadlines, financial aid forms, and a lot of pressure to get it right. So today we're slowing things down. We're breaking it all apart. We're talking about how students can prepare for college, what the application process really looks like, common mistakes to avoid, who to reach out to when you have questions, and what students can expect once they step foot on campus for the first time. We're joined today by Dr. Drew Todd from Southern Crescent Tech, Brittney Wells from West Georgia Tech, Tony Cardenas from West Georgia Tech, and Jenna Addison, Coweta-Fayette EMC's Community Relations Coordinator. These people work with students every day and have helped guide countless families through this exact process. They're here to share practical advice, clear up confusion, and hopefully take some of the stress out of starting college. Whether you're just beginning to think about college, knee-deep in applications, or getting ready to start your first semester, we hope this episode leaves you feeling more confident and prepared. So let's jump in. Dr. Drew Todd, Brittney, Tony, and Jenna, welcome to the podcast. Before we dive into details, let's get to know who we're learning from today.
So I am Drew Todd. I'm the Associate Vice President of Enrollment Management at Southern Crescent Technical College. So my office includes admissions and recruitment. We work with students as they come in and are admitted to the college, adult students and dual enrolled students. Those are high school students who have gone ahead and started taking college courses.
Well, thank you. My name is Tony Cardenas, and I am the Vice President of Student Affairs at West Georgia Technical College. The offices I serve are admissions, financial aid, the registrar's office, and all of student life.
Hi, I'm Brittney Wells, and I'm the Executive Director of Institutional Advancement at West Georgia Technical College. I've been with the college almost 5 years now, and I'm over the foundation, which our sole purpose is to support our college and our students. So we provide scholarships, emergency assistance grants, gap funding, just any way we've taken equipment donations, any way we can help support our students and our communities.
And I am Jenna, the Public Relations Coordinator here at Coweta-Fayette EMC, and I oversee our nonprofit program, Operation Roundup, which funds the scholarships we award each year. And we have several scholarship options, and I'm excited for the opportunity for our listeners to learn more about them. So thanks for having me.
Thank you guys so much for joining me. And can you explain to our listeners, how did you end up in college work?
Maybe I can start with that. That's a great question. I don't think anybody really says, hey, one day I want to be the VP of Student Services or Enrollment Management at a college. And I was really lucky. At undergrad, I had some great mentors that said, you know what, you'd be really good at being an admissions counselor. And I thought, okay, why not? I'll try that. I'll try it for a year, and just absolutely fell in love with higher education after being exposed to the environment and the work that comes with that. I absolutely just fell in love with working with students and supporting students and their families. So that's how I got started in higher ed. It's kind of an unusual story, but it's one
amazing.
path.
Awesome.
So I have a degree in history, and after I finished that, I immediately started graduate school and got a master's in history. And that is not a very high-demand field to go into. So when I finished, I was looking for work, and I got on teaching at a college, and I enjoyed it and just went from there.
So prior to being at West Georgia Tech, I worked for K-12 Board of Education for 7 years, and I was ready to grow, and I found this job at West Georgia Tech, and it is absolutely my home. It brings out the best in me. I love helping people and supporting our students, so every day is just a joy to come to work and just to help.
What's something that people may not realize about your job?
Every single day is different.
Yeah. Yes.
There are no 2 days that are the same. There's no repetition. The best part of my job is meeting new people every day. I'm almost guaranteed I'm going to meet a new student, a new parent, a returning student, a returning adult from anywhere from age 12 to 75. So my days are so varied, and that's the excitement. I wake up thinking, who am I going to meet today? Who are we going to be able to help today? That's what drives me. Many people don't have that luxury in their jobs, and I absolutely love that.
I think working in technical education, we see that even more because we have the traditional student, the ones that are graduating high school and they go right into a post-secondary education. But we also have that single mother who is looking for a new lease on life, and so she's working 40 hours and she's going to school full time and she's taking care of her children. So we have a lot of adult learners, and it's just like Tony said, it is different. Every student is different. Every situation is different. Every path is different. And their path, it could be a high school student coming to us to get their gen ed, and then they're off to a 4-year university. There's a pathway for every student, and we're here just to make their education stronger.
Well, I would say for anybody thinking about a career in higher ed, it's faster paced than you maybe think it's going to be. It is constant action, always something going on. Much more so than you might think if you watch a TV show about a college where it seems kind of sleepy.
Now that we know who you are, let's talk about where this whole college journey begins. So when should students really start thinking about college?
For me, no one student's journey is the same. So to say you should start in middle school, you should start in high school, we have some students that will not start thinking about college until they're adults, 30, 40 years of age. It just depends on the individual. We see TV shows, we watch movies, this is the way it is, this is the way it's done. That's not the reality. That's not the reality. Every student has a path, and there are so many colleges out there that can support that path. From West Georgia, Southern Crescent, Harvard, Yale, Indiana University. There are all these different types of schools out there. So get exposed to education, obviously, and that's where the journey begins. But I think I really want to emphasize that there is no one set path to get there. Find what works for you. If I had to give that advice, when should you start thinking about it? Think about it. Oh, you can always think about it, but just be open-minded and have that mindset. I want to learn. I want to learn, and you'll find the right path. You'll find the right school, and you'll find the level of education that's appropriate for you.
Totally agree.
I think as much as thinking about college, the time to start doing that, like Tony said, it can vary from person to person. But I think for any age, you should always be thinking about careers, right? Like what you're interested in, what you're good at, and what jobs match up with that. I've been talking to my son about that, who's 14 now, since he was 5. I talk to my friends who are 45 about it now, who are already in careers, but people are always thinking about that kind of thing. So I think thinking about the careers and then looking at the education that matches up with that career.
Right.
Because it might be you want to be a truck driver. You can do that in 4 weeks, right? So deciding what level of education is right for the career that matches up with your interests.
Well, I agree with what they both said, but I think, and I think we all try. We're always recruiting. Every one of us is always recruiting, right? And it could be for adult education. So we also have adult education. There are so many people that don't have their high school equivalency, so or a lot of times called GED. So you just never know who you're going to run into and what kind of guidance you can provide them to better themselves. So we have days where we have students come in and they tour, and we have 8th grade expo and Coweta Works and all kinds of things that we do to expose them at different age levels, because you don't know when you're going to connect with that student.
Right.
So we hope that we show them a pathway wherever it's going to take them, just to have a goal in mind.
Gotcha. So let's focus on the high school students for a second. And if a student is listening right now, what should they be doing this year? We mentioned, you talk to your son who's 14, but maybe we're looking at a 10th grader, 11th grader who's really thinking about college. What should they be doing right now?
Well, I kind of go back to what I said earlier is really determining what you like to do and what you're good at. When you look at earnings potential, the high end of those scales are people that are good at those jobs, right? So you want to get into a career not based on what the averages are, but what you're going to be good at, because that's probably what you're going to be most successful at when you go out into the workforce. So I think just looking at those kind of things, I do tell high school students a lot. It's interesting. I don't know that they always see the relevance of what they're doing in high school, but a lot of the adults I know end up in careers around things that they did in high school.
Yeah.
My wife's best friend worked at Chick-fil-A. She's an owner-operator of Chick-fil-A. My wife was in chorus. She became a chorus director. My best friend loved sports. He became an athletic trainer. So those things that you're doing in high school, many times, probably more often than not, end up being the jobs you go into as an adult. So be looking at those things right now when you're 15, 16 years old. And then you're going to find a career that you really enjoy and you're good at.
We love working with those traditional students. There's so much fun. There's so much energy. And you see so much life going on right now. And who they are today as a 10th grader will be completely different from who they are when they're a 12th grader. You have to keep, once again, that mindset to evolve, to grow, and to start exploring those options. Be open to different options throughout, because what you think you're going to be today could change in a month. And it does. We see that all the time. Students change their majors all the time. They come in thinking, I'm going to be an elementary school teacher, and they end up with their CDL license 4 weeks later, which is absolutely amazing, and they're incredibly happy because they were able to make that decision. Research as much as possible. They have the World Wide Web, the internet's out there. There's so many different resources to help you out. But what we're doing at West Georgia Technical College, too, is offering them exposure to so many degrees. I'm sure Southern Crescent is doing the exact same thing. Come to our campuses as a high school student. Meet our professors. Come to our programs. We're going to expose you a little bit deeper than what you just might find doing your own research. And many times, these are all free programs. They're offered through the schools. Come to our campuses. We're going to welcome you. Every single college campus in the system is going to welcome you on their campus to get a feel for what it is and what you might want to do. That's the best way to do the research.
And a lot of high schoolers, we have dual enrollment, obviously. And so if you're a high schooler and you don't know what that is, you can earn college credits now. A lot of students can come out of high school. We've had students graduate from high school and graduate from college with a degree within 2 days of each other. So you can go ahead and get a credential before you even leave high school, or you can work on your gen ed so that when you get to us or to a 4-year university, that you have 2 years already done of your gen ed. And so you're accelerating your education to get out into the workforce even faster. So that's a really great opportunity. I mean, we didn't have dual enrollment when I was a teenager, which would have been amazing. We had AP classes, but AP classes don't transfer like dual enrollment does. So that's definitely an advantage high school students have right now that they should definitely be doing.
Something else I would encourage high schoolers to consider is the fact that most of the jobs that are out there today require more than a high school diploma. So I talk to high school students all the time. They're like, yeah, I'm not going to go to college. Well, that's fine. But your career outlook is pretty bleak with just a high school diploma entering the workforce. But it's not necessarily a 4-year degree that's required. Many jobs require a 4-year degree, but a lot of them require on-the-job training beyond high school, or maybe military training that you can receive if you join the military. Or it could be a short-term, like we've mentioned already, 4-week certificate, a 2-year associate's degree, but something more than a high school diploma is needed for the jobs right now. Most of those that are out there. So I think they need to be thinking about that too.
Yeah, that kind of leads me into my next question. We talked about building that foundation for a career, but more on the application and resume side. So we know grades matter, but how do these activities, jobs, volunteering, does that really make a difference on the resume and the application?
Well, it really depends on the school that they're applying to. So if you're applying to an Ivy League school, the application process is going to be much different than if you're applying to one of our schools. Mm-hmm. So when you apply to us, you're going to turn in the application for admission, your high school transcript, and you're going to pay the application fee. We'll have all of that. That'll process your application and get you admitted. Every school is different. Every school is going to have different requirements. Other schools are going to be looking for different aspects of that student's life and what they've been doing that kind of factor into how they shape their class. So that's something to definitely take into consideration. What kind of extracurriculars are they doing? How are they working with the community? How are they giving back to their school? How are they giving back to the community that they live in? Mm-hmm. Sometimes schools value that, and that's part of their admissions rubric. It really depends on the school and the application process. So when a student writes an essay, there'll be an essay prompt, and they're looking for honest, strong answers. They're not looking for cookie-cutter type of responses. So if you're writing an essay for a college, it really has to be from you. It has to be authentic. It has to be real. So if I'm giving advice to every type of student out there, be aware of where you're applying, what type of requirements there are in terms of the application, and then that will help determine that whole entire process for you, which will be different for every school.
Another thing I'll say about work experience that doesn't necessarily play into college application process, but is the fact that it's really important in that exploration piece that we were talking about earlier. Just for example, we have hundreds of high school dual enrollees that go through certified nurse assistant training every year. Most of them do it because they think they want to become RNs, registered nurses. For many of them, when they do their clinicals, where they go typically into a nursing home and get hands-on training, they decide nursing is not for them. So it's really a great experience, not just for the kids that love it and decide to continue on with registered nursing, but for the ones that don't like it and realize early on in a short-term program at very low cost, if not free, that this is not the career for them before they invest time and money getting trained a little bit further.
Once students start preparing for the next big step, that's actually applying, and that's where things can feel a little bit confusing. So let's break it down. What goes into a college application?
Well, I know for Southern Crescent Tech and West Georgia Tech being part of the technical college system of Georgia is probably similar. We're an access institution, so we try to keep it as basic and streamlined as possible. We're looking for the application, which for graduating seniors, it's always free to apply. We do free application months. If you happen to apply during a month that there's not a free application, it's only $25 if you're not a graduating high school senior. We require a transcript, and then we require proof of residency. But that's because of the nature of our institution. We're trying to provide educational access for all Georgians all across the state.
And when you're reviewing these applications, I know you guys might not exactly be reviewing, but maybe your colleagues, what do you think grabs their attention?
I can tell you, really for us, when we're thinking about competitive application process, we do have that at the technical college system. We have some programs that have competitive admissions because they have limited seats and a lot of people trying to do it. Usually it's healthcare, RN, radiologic technology, that kind of thing. They're looking at test scores. It's not necessarily SAT or ACT for those. We do the HESI test. Sorry, I couldn't remember that for a second. But they're looking at test scores, GPA. I can tell you for us, RadTech is so competitive. Every single student that was admitted last year had a minimum. The lowest GPA was 4.0.
Wow.
So looking at GPA, test score. In some cases, they are looking at work experience certifications. Our practical nursing program, it's a certificate program. It's competitive entry. They're looking at test scores, and they also add weight for students that maybe have a CNA certification or a phlebotomy certification or something like that.
No, I think that's a great answer, especially when you're looking at a technical college, that we do have competitive programs like that, and highly competitive programs. And there are certain aspects on that process that are vital. Having a CNA, having that work experience, all of that's factored into the application process. So when a student applies, they're going to want to put their best foot forward every single time. Stay on those grades. Work with the academic advisor that they have as they go through that process. Get the feedback. Talk to the departments, and then submit that application. That's a big thing. Really work with the department that you're applying to. Talk to them. Don't be afraid to reach out to those professors. Don't be afraid to reach out to those department heads. That's what we're here for.
And what do you think is something that students overthink way too much?
Well, from the perspective of the foundation, so we do give scholarships as well, and we give them every semester, and they overthink our application for sure. So we've started holding workshops on each campus to just kind of walk them through it, because okay, if you're a welding student, you're there just to weld some metal together, and you're like, I don't want to write an essay. So our application is very simple. It really is. So once we get past that and help them understand that, you're just answering a lot of questions that qualify you for a bunch of, because we have like 50 different scholarships. So like there's a bunch of qualifying questions, and then we do have 3 essay questions, and I quote essay. If we can get them to write a paragraph, we're happy. So it's not that but they get intimidated. But the questions are, tell us what your 5-year plan is with your education. What are your financial needs? They're questions about yourself. So I think for the foundation, that's always a hurdle, and we have seen, I think we had a 35% increase in applications over the last cycle that we did. So I think just educating them to understand that we have this money, we want to give it to you, and it's really not that hard to get. But it could, they're just intimidated.
I think sometimes students overthink the entire admissions process.
Yeah.
And paralysis by analysis. They sit back, they wait. College isn't for me. It's what they've been told, it's what they've seen, it's what they've heard, and they kind of freeze, and that's what we're here for. We're here to kind of break that ice with them, that we're here to help you and support you. I have staffs on every single one of our 5 campuses that go out of their way for every single student to explain the process to them. Sometimes they think the process is going to be outrageously long, it's going to take weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's not like that at all. We walk them through how to get their transcripts, how to fill out the application. We'll do that with them right there in the office. We'll take them through this entire process from admissions through financial aid, through enrollment. It's about the handoff. It's about onboarding the student, taking them through that entire process, that we're here with them, and they've got a support team to take them through that process. And they don't realize that. They think, I've got to do this all by myself. And it's not. It's not a journey you want to do by yourself. That's what we're here for. We're going to get you from point A to point B and hopefully to point G, which I call graduation.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
I think those are great answers. It kind of goes into what both of you were saying so far as overthinking. I came to mind as you were speaking is people overthink the funding piece. And I think it goes to what you're talking about with the foundation scholarships. There's money out there, and it's really not that hard to apply for. But students a lot of times don't realize it. Maybe they think there's strings attached, whatever the case may be, and it's just not the case. There is funding out there. I mean, there are circumstances for different students where maybe there is not, but for the most part, there's money out there to help pay for this.
But also, we're the best deal in town.
Absolutely.
Oh, by far.
We are $107 a credit hour.
Wow.
So we all each institution has their own fees and stuff that go along with that, but $107 a credit hour is just, you can't beat that. And like Tony said earlier, there are many programs that are even covered 100% under the Hope Career Grant. So don't think of funding as an obstacle. Come speak with us at our institutions. We can let you know where there's help, whether it's with foundation or it's with government funding, or it's an initiative for the state. So you could be wanting to do something you're not going to have to pay anything for.
So is there such a thing as applying for too many schools?
I've never really thought about that before, but I will tell you, I mentioned I have a 14-year-old, and in a few years when he's ready to apply to colleges, I will probably encourage him to not apply to like a whole lot of schools. I want him to have options, but there's an application fee a lot of times associated with that. So if it's something that he's not super serious about, I might discourage him from doing it. But you definitely want to have options. You want to have a variety of choices once you are making that decision on where to attend. So I don't know. I think it's going to vary by student, as to where they are, what they're really interested in, how sure they are about the career path that they've chosen, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with that. You're not going to want to apply to hundreds and hundreds of colleges.
Right.
And I think an important part of the application process starts way earlier when we start putting together a list of schools that we're thinking about. And I have a 19-year-old son. He's in college now down in Florida, and he found the right school. But he started out with a list of colleges, where he wanted to be, how close did he want to be to home, what was it going to cost mom and dad, all of these factors that came into kind of putting together that list. Then what we did to narrow down that list was visit the campuses. Mm-hmm. Is this where he wants to be? Can you see yourself living here for the next 4 years of your life? Is this the type of school you want to go? Talk to the professors, meet the other students. How does it feel? And off of that, we were able to come up with a list of schools to apply to. So he applied to 2-year schools, 4-year schools, and then made that final decision, but not without going to each of those campuses first and having that first impression, which is vital, even when choosing a college, meeting those professors, and then submitting those applications.
So let's talk about what to watch out for. What are some common mistakes that you see every year?
I'm just going to take a semester off. That's a big mistake. Don't do that. So part of the foundation is we provide gap funding, which is we can help pick up a balance when a student has a balance that they can't pay. And it is proven that if you stay on track, you're more likely to complete your program. If you have to take a break for a financial reason or for any reason, it's a lot harder to come back. So don't take that break. If you can avoid it, just keep your nose to the grindstone and get through it,
That's a really good point. I've had friends who have said, oh, yeah, my son's going to work for a year. He's not ready to go to school. And I've told them, just take a couple of online classes. Stay in the game because 4 years from now, 2 years from now, when his friends are graduating, he's going to be really mad that he's still in school because he decided to take that year or two off. And it's hard to go back.
It is.
I have a couple. The first thing is students that are applying to college now and are filling out the free application for federal student aid, make sure you're filing the right FAFSA form. Both forms are out there right now, 25, 26, but also the 26, 27 academic year are also out there. So we're seeing students file the wrong FAFSA form coming into this year. So that's important. Pay close attention to that. And also, sometimes students get into a tough academic situation in the middle of the semester. And sometimes they'll just stop going. And that is not the answer. We have so many different support services in place on our campuses, tutoring, faculty, staff, all here to help you. No matter what type of situation you get into, whether it's personal or academic, we can help support you and make sure that you can continue and get through that class. Don't just stop going, because that will hurt your GPA, that will hurt financial aid down the road. There are so many different ramifications that go along. You need to get advice from your advisor. You need that support. Don't just stop.
So you kind of led me into my next question with the FAFSA. It's so important, and we know that. What do students misunderstand most about FAFSA and financial aid?
Well, these gentlemen might be better to answer FAFSA because it runs through the student services a lot of the times, but it's free to do. Every one of our campuses, we can help you apply because I think that's like sometimes a barrier because they see this massive, FAFSA form you have to fill out. I mean, I'm in grad school right now, so I still am filling out the FAFSA forms, right? So it does take some time, but once you do it, it gets you qualified for Pell, for loans, all kinds of things. So it's very important. You definitely want to do that. And I mean, when we take applications for scholarships, I want to know if you've applied for FAFSA, and if you haven't, why didn't you do it? Because sometimes people are like, I'm not going to qualify for it. It is for a number of years. So sometimes we have students that are our students. They have a bachelor's already, and they have used up all the FAFSA. So sometimes they can't apply for it. But that is a resource there that can help you get through your education. But probably these gentlemen could dive a little bit deeper in that.
We do recommend our students fill out the free application for federal student aid. Brittney had touched on our tuition. We are the best deal
in town.
Best deal in town, definitely. And to use that FAFSA as support. For a lot of students, one thing they need to realize that they might not be thinking about now is after-school debt. Am I going to be paying back student loans after I'm done? Scholarships, grants, HOPE, all of these programs are there, and that's free money that you're going to have that you're not going to have to repay. Scholarships like what you guys are doing here, absolutely fabulous to help support that education. Those are dollars that the student does not have to spend, does not come out of pocket. So my advice is to take advantage of all of those programs. If you're eligible for the Pell Grant, a state higher education grant, all of those programs are out there. Talk to your local financial aid representative, and they will help you with that. But limit that after-school debt, because one day you may want to go on to grad school. You may want to go on and get that PhD. And even though you might not be thinking about that now, like I told you before, we change, we evolve, we grow. And next thing you know, we're Dr. Smith. And then that's amazing, that journey that those students take. But the FAFSA are there, the federal programs are there to support students. Students need to be responsible with the amount of loans that they take out during that process. And that's what our financial aid offices are here to do, is help support that.
So now we're going to transition into scholarships, and I'm going to have Jenna explain the scholarships that we have here to offer here at Coweta-Fayette EMC.
For those who may not know, Coweta-Fayette EMC awards thousands of dollars in scholarships each year to support students in our community. Right now, we have all 4 of our scholarships open. So let's get into the details. First is our Technical and Trade School Scholarship. This is a $1,000 scholarship awarded up to 18 applicants. This scholarship does not require you to be quote-unquote college age, So if you took some time off or are pursuing a technical degree later in life, this scholarship's perfect for you. Applicants must live in the Coweta-Fayette EMC service area and have a minimum GPA of 2.0. Next is our Melissa Seeger Scholarship, which is designed specifically for high school seniors graduating this year who plan to pursue a 4-year degree. This awards $3,000 to 15 students, and applicants must attend a high school within the Coweta-Fayette EMC service area and also maintain at least a 3.0 GPA. We also offer the Walter G. Harrison Scholarship. It's a $1,000 scholarship awarded to one student whose primary residence is served by Coweta-Fayette EMC and plans to attend a university or a technical school in Georgia. As I said, all of these applications are currently open and they will close January 31st. And lastly, we offer a lineman scholarship. It is a $3,500 scholarship for those pursuing a career as a lineman. This scholarship covers the cost of the West Georgia Technical College Lineman Program and remains open year-round, so those interested can apply anytime. So altogether, that is 35 scholarship opportunities and just over $67,000 that we have available. So I hope you take advantage and apply on our website, www.utility.org. Go to the My Community dropdown and select scholarships.
Thank you, Jenna. And do you guys have any other scholarships that you would want to point out?
Well, first, I just want to say thank you for supporting West Georgia Tech's line worker program. We just recently transitioned it. It was on our non-credit side, so it is now on our credit side, and you get your CDL and your line worker certification all in one. I think it's like one semester. Mm-hmm. It's one semester, and you can now get financial aid, and there's also the scholarship, which is amazing. So Coweta-Fayette EMC has been a great partner as we have built this program over the past few years. So we're very thankful for that. And I did mention earlier we do have scholarships at West Georgia Tech through the foundation that are separate from like FAFSA and things like that. But we open them for each, we give them every semester. So we're going to open them up in March for our summer semester. This past fall, we gave 75 scholarships totaling $50,000 for our spring cohort. So that 75 students got scholarships for the spring semester. So we have money. We're ready to give it. Just come and apply for it.
Yes.
And incoming students can apply. We do have a small amount of scholarships we give to incoming students because typically you have to have an established GPA with our institution. But I just tell students, if you don't get it that first semester, do not be deterred because next semester you're going to be eligible for so many more scholarships and the likelihood of getting one grows exponentially. So just apply. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to me at West Georgia Tech, Brittney Wells, and I'll be happy to help with that.
I just want to take this opportunity to say that I absolutely love and support all the linemen and women that are out there, having come from Florida and having seen multiple hurricanes come through. We actually, on my previous campus, we hosted linemen on our campus, and the hard work that they put in and the training that they need to do that through those type of conditions is absolutely incredible. Those guys are saving lives, literally, and women, men and women that are out there saving lives. So that the fact that you guys have scholarships for those programs and supporting that is phenomenal and just really hits home for me.
Yeah, for scholarships, just encourage students to leave no stone unturned. We've talked about FAFSA, federal aid. There's a lot of state aid out there when it comes to Hope scholarships that pay for associate degrees and bachelor degrees, or Hope Grant that pays for certificate programs, diploma programs, and then foundation scholarships like West Georgia Tech, Southern Crescent Tech has that. Most, maybe all colleges are going to have those scholarships that are specific to their school. So it's important wherever you plan to attend, look into that, apply for them. And then just scholarships like the EMC scholarships you talked about. I know when I was in high school, my employer, unbeknownst to me when I started working there, when I got to college, I realized they gave out scholarships. And every year I was in college, I got a $500 scholarship from them. So different things like that, look into it. It's free money.
So once students are accepted, the questions don't stop. They just change. Who's their go-to person on campus?
Well, for us on our campus, the next person they're going to want to work with is their academic advisor. That academic advisor has got that degree pathway laid out. We're going to go over the different options they have semester by semester. They're going to get to know the student. We're looking at a holistic advising environment here. Does the student work? How many hours a week are they working? Do they have a family? When can they go to school? Is it online or is it going to be in person? They take all of that into consideration when putting together that plan and doing that onboarding as we bring students onto campus and registering them. Also through that process, we take them through orientation when they get an introduction to the entire campus, all of us, all at once, which can be a little overwhelming. But we try to get as much as we can get done in that process to kind of make sure that every student comes in and they're ready to get that degree program started.
Yeah, that's really going to be the same at Southern Crescent Tech as well. I do encourage students to get to know your faculty. You know, if you're going into a trade or a profession, you're going to work with the same faculty or several faculty members throughout your time there. So get to know them early on. These are going to be the people that advise you, help connect you with careers that are out there, maybe write recommendations for you down the road. So get to know them early, work with them often. That can be really, really helpful for students.
And we're breaking this down a little bit more. There are so many titles: admissions counselor, advisors, student services. Can y'all break it down? Who does what at the schools?
In higher education, sometimes it feels like we have a completely different foreign language out there. What's a registrar? What are all these different positions? Who's the director of financial aid? Who's the director of admissions? All of these different types of people that are going to be working with our students. So we throw a lot at them. So every school, every campus has its own type of languages and acronyms that they use. So we try to acclimate those students through the orientation process and through the admissions process so they know who to talk to and when to talk to that person. So we're really diligent about making sure that as they go through that process, they understand all of these different roles. So the director of admissions is obviously going to guide the admissions office and the recruitment efforts. The registrar is going to be looking at everything from degree audits and graduation, granting certificates and all of those type of programs, class schedules, all of that for the upcoming semester. We all have different roles. Student life, which is something we haven't touched on. Get involved on campus. Meet with the director of student activities, student government associations. All of those programs are on campus. They're extracurriculars, but it's another way to make a connection and get involved on campus. The more students are connected on campus, the higher the likelihood that they are going to be retained and graduate. So set yourself up for success. Meet those professors. Get involved on campus. Meet that director of student activities who's going to give you a list of all of the different clubs and organizations on campus.
Well, and I think we touched on student life, and that is so important to not everybody can join those organizations because, like we said earlier, they're working full-time, they're taking care of children, so they can't. But those that can, it's a great way to network and find opportunities. And I don't know if we've mentioned this, but we have, what's our graduation rate? Or not our graduation rate, our job placement rate?
Is it like
99? It's like 99% job placement rate. I'm sure Southern Crescent is very similar. Technical institutions have a really great job placement rate because our program directors and our instructors, they work really hard to connect our students with industry partners, right? We work very hard with those industry partners because everybody needs employees. We need employees. Everybody needs employees. There's not an industry partner I don't meet with that says we need X, Y, and Z, and we're doing our best to provide those X, Y, and Zs. So if you come to one of our institutions, and even when you go to a university, but for us, we are going to find you job placement, okay? You're not going to have to worry about what am I going to do when I get done. Most of our students are hired before they get finished, so.
Comes to the job titles, it is funny. I see students come in and they don't really seem to mind which office they're working with as long as the person is helpful. So I say to find the person that you click with. And if they don't know the answer, they'll get you the person that can get you the answer. So it might be somebody in admissions, it might be an advisor, but I noticed that a lot of students will find that person, and that's who they communicate with during their whole time. Yeah, if you find somebody reliable.
Yes.
There are definitely employees I go to, and it might not be their area, but they can answer my question, right? And I always try. Anytime a student reaches out to me, I don't want to pass them off. I'm like, I'm going to call you back. I'm going to do the research. I'm going to figure out who you need to talk to, and I'm going to get it set up because that is the worst thing for a student to feel is to be ping-ponged around, right? Like, oh, you just passed me off to this person to this person. So for me personally, anytime I get an inquiry from a student, I'm going to do that background and then make sure that when I connect them to that person, they're going to help them because that's another barrier. It's very intimidating. Nobody's going to answer my question. So we try to do our best to make sure they don't feel uncomfortable and they have their answers.
Yeah, and I think people can be intimidated to go to a college, particularly non-traditional students, adults, people who have been out of school for many years in some cases. So for them to know, our staff is there to help. If you come in, someone will help you, I promise.
So let's transition into starting college, college life, what to expect. What surprises students the most once they start college?
For me, I think it's the student-faculty relationship. I tell every student that comes across my area that talks to me, email every one of your professors on the first day. Introduce yourself. Because that first email, you don't want that first email you send to them to be, oh, I'm sorry I missed class, or oh my gosh, I can't turn in this paper. Introduce yourself. They're human. They want to get to know you. They're passionate about their subject area. They want you to be passionate about your subject area. So please, yeah, definitely. If you want to get ahead, if you want to be ahead of everybody else in your class, send that email. It's simple, quick. Some will respond, some won't, but at least you've made that introduction. So I think that's a big thing.
I do remember when I started college, I was surprised by how much free time I had, because you're not programmed like you are in high school 7 hours a day. And it's also because college requires more individual initiative than high school. It's up to you to crack the books and study. They're not going to give you time in class to do that. So I think, just thinking back for myself, I imagine a lot of other college students find that freedom, that free time to be a surprise, but then you realize pretty quickly that it's up to you to fill it up if you're going to be successful.
I think they'll be surprised how fast it goes.
Yeah.
Like, you think it's going to take forever, and before you know it, you're going to be done. And it just depends on what you're doing. You could, if you're coming to us to get a certificate or a diploma, obviously that's going to be faster, but a 2-year degree or a 4-year degree, you're going to blink and it's going to be over.
And to wrap things up, we want to leave our listeners with a few quick takeaways. If you could give students one piece of advice, what would it be?
Take that first step.
Take advantage of all of the programs that we have to offer. All of our support programs. Every college is here. They want you to succeed. We're here for you, and we're here to give you that platform. Take advantage of all of these resources. It's part of your tuition. You're paying for them. Hey, take advantage. Get in there and take the tutoring. Talk to the admissions officer. Talk to the registrar's office. Get to know the entire campus. Network. Start to create your network the very first day you're on campus, because that network is going to extend after you graduate. The other students that are sitting to your left and to your right, that's part of your network. Your professors are part of your network. The vice president of student affairs, not a bad person to have in your network. Meet the president of the college. She walks around. She's on every single campus this week. Go up, shake her hand, introduce yourself. That's my advice. Create that networking opportunities, as many as you can, because that will lend itself later on after you graduate. These are the people that you're going to use as references. These are the people that you're going to learn from that are going to give you those job opportunities if they come across their desk. Like I told you before, email those professors, get to know them, but it's all about creating a network. And it doesn't matter what degree it's in. It's CDL, if it's welding, or if it's rad tech, or if it's an English or an elementary education degree. It doesn't matter. Create that network now.
I think for me, it's to explore your options. Really look into the careers that are out there. It might be job shadowing. Maybe you know somebody that works in a field you're interested in. Go follow them around for half a day. Get a part-time job somewhere that's related to what you might be interested in. Watch a day-in-the-life YouTube video of somebody on the job. Whatever it is, whatever you have access to, look into it, because before you get too far down the road, you want to know that it's something you really want to do. This is what you're going to spend 40 years doing after you get out of school. So make sure you're really, really interested in it. Look into all those options and dig into them.
And if students are considering starting college this next upcoming semester, what is one tip, one thing they could do this month to get started?
Start the process. Start the application process. It could be for summer. Summer will be here before you know it. So those classes are starting May, June, July. If you want to get started in the summer, we have programs. Each of our schools have summer programs that you can get going. Start that education, and of course, keep going into the fall. But I would say start the application process.
And a lot of institutions have mini-mesters. So even if you missed the application window to start at the beginning of the spring semester, you still might have the opportunity to do the second 8 weeks of the spring semester. So it's not too late to even be in the spring semester.
Yeah, we're like that. We start all the time, basically. So tell people come in within a few weeks, we can get you started in classes. But for somebody that's interested in starting pretty quickly, or really anybody at all, I say if you can, I know it's not an option for everybody, go to campus. Go by one day. Take an hour out of your day, talk to admissions, talk to financial aid, talk to advisement. You may leave with a schedule in hand and all your classes already covered in funding. But we can usually get everything taken care for you in about an hour. And if you can't make it to campus, get online and get it done quickly.
And my last question, what do you hope students remember after listening to this episode?
The options are endless, and you don't have to be scared to start. There are people that can help you walk through the process. So don't be intimidated. If you can come by yourself, if you're a high school student, bring your parent. We'll help walk you through the process.
Keep that growth mindset the entire time. And remember, no one journey is the same as another. Everybody is on a different path. And remember, your path is as important as anyone else's. And just you don't compare yourself to anybody else. We're here to support you and take that leap. Let's take that jump.
I think since we're technical college system at Georgia institutions, just to know that wherever you are, there's a technical college that serves you in Georgia. We have 22 all around the state, and our goal is to provide you with training opportunities up to 2 years. So anything you need up to 2 years of education, whether it's 2 years of core classes so that you can go on and get a 4-year degree, or a 4-week CNA program, or a 1-year HVAC certification, we've got all sorts of things you can do that can get you started and out into the workforce, or get you started and onto your 4-year degree.
Well, that was such a great conversation, and we want to again thank you, Dr. Drew, Todd, Tony, Brittney, and Jenna, for sharing your time and insight with us. If there's one thing we hope you take away from today's episode, it's this. You don't have to have everything figured out right now. Asking questions, making mistakes, and learning as you go are all part of the college journey. If you found today's episode helpful, please be sure to share it with a student, family, friends who might need it. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes where we continue to share helpful resources, conversations, and stories. Thank you so much for listening to In the Loop, and we'll see you next time.